guys, welcome back to TSI.
What's up, guys?
I'm Dave, and this is Aaron again. And so this is sort of a part 3, I guess, to our interview video, although it's not quite an interview anymore. We went to the range today here in New York, and we shot some of our rifles. We shot my Saiga 223. We shot Aaron's upper receiver on my AR-15 lower, and we shot my full 20-inch gun. All right, so first thing is first.
Should I run to get my BCM so that way they see it?
Yeah, you probably should.
Yeah. I'll be right back. Hey guys, I'm back. Sorry, I had to get my my upper receiver out of my car.
We didn't really plan too much about it. So we'll go over it again. We shot Aaron's upper receiver. You can see here, and he'll go over in just a second. We're just going to go over the little things. That's his. And this is mine. It's the full-on 20-inch gun.
There was a lower attached to these, by the way.
May or may not. And the Saiga 223. So, I guess we'll start with the one that people would be probably most interested in, and the one that I've taken the most shit for, the Saiga 223. So, what are your impressions of the Saiga 223?
Well, Dave, I can definitely say this is... I've never shot a Saiga, so this being my first Saiga, I was actually quite impressed. People give a lot of shit to 5.56 AKs or their variants or whatever. This thing shot everything. We had Wolf Gold, which is XM193 spec ammo used in Taiwan. We had some Wolf, just standard 223 55 grain.
Yeah.
Some Wolf 223 hollow point, and some M855. You know, the evil green tip.
Yeah, we had some evil green tip.
I know. In New York.
Oh, I know. Oh,
Scary.
I don't know, man. I don't know why we did
shivers. This thing ate it up. Everything. This thing just ate up everything. I mean, the recoil impulse was nothing. I mean, yeah, it's 5.56, guys, so we all know that it doesn't recoil.
It's not going to be intense.
Yeah, it's not going to be intense.
Now,
but this thing really.
What I was telling you before is that I personally think that it actually is a little. It hovers around the M4 type of recoil, but maybe a little bit less. Would you say that's true, or on par, maybe slightly less with an M4?
Oh, it's definitely it's along the lines of the M4, guys. If any AR, I mean, even without the muzzle brake, I mean, it's a New York compliant AK. So
without the muzzle brake, this thing actually recoils just like an M4.
Yeah, it just got a nasty flash, guys. That's it. But
with
the recoil, I mean, with standard AK sights, I was getting right back on target. I should have kept some of the targets, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Sorry we didn't get any video, guys, of this, but
yeah, at our range, they generally don't allow me to shoot. Although you see me have footage at that range, I'm not going to say whether or not. Well, you know, at this point, I'm not exactly supposed to do that. It's not illegal or anything like that. They just do it for privacy issues. And the range officers were very nice. He kind of tapped me on the shoulder and say, "Hey, man, don't shoot any footage." So I'm like, all right, so no footage today. So unfortunately, we couldn't show you anything.
Yeah, he wasn't a dick to us, so we weren't going to be a dick to him.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's unfortunate we couldn't get any footage, but you'll just have to take our word for it. Anyway, yeah, I would have to say that of all the guns that I have, this is currently the one that I'm most interested in right now.
Well, it's also your newest.
It's the newest, yeah, obviously, but it's the newest one. But it's the one that I see the most potential in because, again, I'll do a separate video on the 223 AK or the 223 Saiga. But I see a lot of potential for this thing. I really, really do. And the fact that it shoots like an M4 is great, even with no muzzle device on it.
It's not even that heavy, guys. I mean, it weighs
about the same as a regular Saiga. If you've ever,
you
never held another Saiga.
It weighs about the same as a regular AK, like a 5.45 AK, guys. So it's similar weight.
Yeah, and actually, if I'm thinking that in the future when I put a brake on this thing, it's going to be like nothing, the recoil. If you put like a 74 style brake on this thing when it's eventually converted, it's going to be nothing. It's going to be really sweet. Okay, so that we have that done. Now we have this one, which is the one I was actually really curious to shoot. Now, Aaron, you already have experience with this one. You've shot it many times.
Yes.
So I'll talk about it first, and you can tell me a little bit more history about it on your end.
Okay.
I like this thing a lot. I really do. The recoil on this is, again, nothing because of this big PWS muzzle brake. This is a 14.5 mid-length pin. So this is a pin muzzle brake right here. I'm not usually a fan of these rail systems here, but this particular one is the BCM KMR Magnesium. It's the Magnesium rail?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's the Magnesium rail. And it's sweet, guys. It really is. It's very thin. I feel like it's thinner than the M4 handguards, so you can get your hand all the way around that. And he's got a flip down, flip up sights with an aim point T1, and the sight picture on this thing is great. We'll go into a little bit more what I mean by that. But really, it's very easy to acquire targets. It's very, very light. When it's put on a lower receiver, it's like 7 pounds overall. It's fucking nice. This is the kind of build that I would be interested in doing in the future. Like almost this exact configuration.
Well, you had said earlier off camera that this is everything you need, nothing you don't.
Yeah, this is a very simple build, and I do appreciate these kind of builds where they're just basically you got your sights, you got your light, and you got your handguard, and that's it. And you got one little thing here, but it's very to the point, and I really like that build.
And this thing right here, guys, just so you see it, that's the CAG from BCM, the hand stop. And I'm sure some of you guys are really interested in this. I've used this now at Rifleman 1 at Valor Ridge, Skill Builder Rifle at SIG, and then multiple times on my own.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, it's from memory. You know, a lot of you guys, and we're going to get into the whole C-clamp. I like it. Okay? That's just my personal preference. You can hold back here. You can hold the mag well. Whatever works for you. There's no wrong way to really hold this gun. So
yeah, and what's really great about this compared to a quad rail is that it's smooth on these sides. You're not cheese grating your hand and everything like that. So you can just get your hand right around it and do that thing. And it's a very, very slick setup, and I really have no complaints with it. I mean, when you're standing on the side of this thing, the muzzle device is pretty intense, but it's really minor.
Especially indoors.
Yeah, indoors.
Any of you guys who have used the muzzle brake like a Surefire or the PWS or ProComp? No, not ProComp.
ProTac? No, right?
No, not ProTac.
I don't remember what it's called.
BattleComp.
BattleComp.
Hey.
Okay. Take a shot.
Shot a brain fart there, guys.
Take a shot, guys. BattleComp. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I like it. I mean, everyone knows that I'm not a fan of these Magpul flip-up sights, but that's just me.
I had them. They were lying around. I said that earlier in my first video.
If you have them, like, that's just my personal opinion. Actually, a lot of the bias that comes from with me with the Magpul flip-ups is not the fact that they're straight up bad. It's just that part of it is when I originally got these things, I didn't really know how to use AR sights that well. So I didn't do the whole nose to the charging handle thing, and I couldn't hit jack shit. Granted, that is my fault. But ever since then, I've been sort of a little bit turned off by these. But man, they're light, and it keeps this gun really, really light, and that's sort of the point here. With the aim points, you almost don't need backup sights, although you should have them.
Yeah,
you
always should. You should always practice with them.
But these are so tough that they're tough enough to strike your life on. Really, really are.
What'd you think of the
this thing?
The gunfighter charging handle.
Gunfighter charging handle. I've always liked. I had this exact one. It came with my BCM, but one day actually I dropped this, and this latch broke. So the one thing I would say about these particular ones is that you got to be a little bit careful with them sometimes. But I do love these quite a bit. I have to replace mine. These things have a lifetime warranty, so they'll probably be okay. But I do love these a lot, but I've had some negative experiences with them. Because I was actually in this room and it fell and things snapped off. I wish I had it around here, but it's actually in the other room. But I like it. As a lefty, you just go like we were talking about before in the other video. You do the AK roll, and I did that, and it was fine. You just have to touch it, and the thing will fly forward. So no complaints.
Came right around to the AK roll and worked just fine.
Really no complaints, especially because it's such a small gun. You just kind of go like that, and then it just works. So yeah, I like this thing a lot. I'll probably clone it one day. All right, so we'll go on to mine now. So why don't you talk about it first?
Yeah, this is Dave's BCM 20-inch upper, which you guys have seen before. It's BCM. I mean, it works. It runs. It was quite interesting taking. We kept switching between this and my mid-length on his lower, so it was very interesting to see a rifle length versus a mid-length, going from one to the other. Especially my mid-length having a PWS and him just having a straight-up bird cage, standard bird cage, which works just fine for flash suppression. There's nothing wrong with it. It works fine. I mean, you can't go wrong with a rifle length upper. And for the money you pay like what, $500 with the bolt carrier group.
Yeah,
and
it was something like that. Yeah, it was something.
Yeah,
like,
you can't beat that. $500. And then he's got the Magpul rifle length handguards on here, which were what, like $40.
Not very expensive. Probably about 50.
Yeah, and you guys can pick up the A2 handguards for like $20.
Yeah, and they're fine.
Yeah,
I used to run them
to be on the cheap side. You know,
I used to run the A2s on there, but then I got into the light mounting stuff because it is very important.
He's got this MRL on here, which I have one on my Daniel Defense. So we had mentioned earlier in the last video that we were going to do a comparison,
side-by-side comparison.
So the only thing I can say is these LMTs, as good as sights as they are, he's got this Absolute Co-Witness, and I hate Absolute Co-Witness with a passion. Like, you have no clue how much I hate Absolute Co-Witness. So going from, you know, just straight dot to I have rear sight, front sight, and dot all meshed together.
It's a bit busy, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very, very busy. And because the dot sits right on top of that front sight post. Sometimes the dot will go just below the front sight post, you know.
Yeah, and that's the problem with it.
It's very confusing. If he gets rid of this rear sight, which he had talked about earlier, probably going to a Troy rear, you know, at least he gets rid of some of the busyness.
Yeah, and what I noticed even yesterday, we were just messing around with our rifles and everything like that. With this thing, I'm beginning to get a little bit annoyed at the absolute co-witness. I probably will keep the A2 front sight just because it's there and it's not really going to be going anywhere. But with this thing right here, I probably will change it to a flip-up sight because I noticed that the biggest advantage of that the MRO currently offers is this big objective right here. That's like the biggest advantage the MRO has over its competitors. With this sort of style, you negate that slightly because the ring of the aperture will block that. So you've got you're really negating a lot of it. So I'm seriously considering I probably will just sell this rear sight and probably pick up a flip-up sight. Even though in the past I've been sort of against flip-up sights, I'm beginning to sort of change my opinion on it just based on shooting something like this and other rifles that I've shot in the past too.
Yeah, I was using the Daniel Defense on here. Down at Valor Ridge, I had the Daniel Defense front and rear on this thing, but I also had an EOTech 553.
Oh, you said the
I know, I said the bad word, EOTech.
Oh, yeah, all like the butt hurt's gonna come out.
I know, right? Sorry, Rob. But when I threw the T1 on here, it just was too busy. It was too much taken up. I mean, you go from, you know, an EOTech that's like this to a aim point that's like this.
Yeah.
It wasn't a lot, so well, that's the only thing I liked about EOTechs is that big window.
Yeah, that window is really cool.
The window's nice.
I do like that too.
I'm fine with the standard MBUS 2 from Magpul. They work. You know, I know Chris has said, you know, Chris from ARG has said that he's seen plenty of them break. Okay, cool. If that's all you're running, then yeah, they're gonna break. I mean, if you're using them as primaries, they're gonna break. They're backups, guys.
Yeah, and it's in the name, Magpul backup sights.
Yeah, exactly.
So you should just be using them as backup sights.
I've got one thing Dave didn't mention is in case you guys are wondering, Surefire Scout. This thing I've had since Iraq back in 2008. My company bought a whole bunch of these and like, yeah, you guys can keep them. So I've had this thing.
Yeah, that's a cool setup too.
8 years now.
Too.
So
yeah,
works well. I've had no problems, and everybody's gonna be like, oh, you should go to M-Lock. Why don't you go to M-Lock?
Yeah, that's a big
M-Lock this, M-Lock this. Oh.
Honestly, guys, it's fine.
You know, screw Keymod. Keymod sucks.
Yeah, I've heard
it works for me. I'm not gonna spend the money. I'm sorry. It works. I haven't had a single problem. Until I have a problem, I'm gonna keep it. Okay? Thank you.
Yeah, and the thing is though with M-Lock and Keymod is
that's to you, CJ.
Oh shit! Oh boy!
Yeah, calling you out, buddy.
Well, basically, like my whole take on this is this: if Keymod was not supported by people like BCM and Midwest Industries and all these other top tier manufacturers, I'd be like, yeah, man, just go to fucking M-Lock. But the fact is that Keymod is supported. It's supported by quite a lot of well-known manufacturers, so it's not going away.
There's going to be a reason why, guys. And you start hearing reports of like guys coming around corners and them knocking their flashlights off or whatever. Screw it on tight. Use thread lock.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Just
use
because
Loctite.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're a gun guy, you should have Loctite.
I forgot My first class at SIG with this thing, I literally put it together like 2 days before, so it was the trial by fire, and this thing was loose. I had to tighten it down. I forgot to put Loctite on. Since I put Loctite on, I went down to Valor Ridge. This thing had about 1,600 rounds put through it down there, and I've put about another 1,000 through it since.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it's a sort of an important point that we want to show is that
And
it hasn't come off yet.
it's not moving.
Yeah, and so it seemed fine. I mean, I didn't have a single problem with it today. Actually, what's cool about it too, I'll go into one thing, I'll go into another. People always wonder about whether these things heat up a lot. I didn't experience anything like that. We were shooting fairly rapidly. You know, we were going da 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 da. You know, we didn't shoot we didn't do like 50 mag dumps
Yeah,
out of it.
we're telling you, we can't use 30 rounds. There's only 10 rounds, guys.
Yeah.
New York. I know. I felt the pain.
I do too, because I've shot 30 rounds out of state, and I come back to New York, I'm like, well, fuck, I have to go back to that again. But the point is, though, like even the amount of rounds that we shot, actually, believe it or not, this thing heated up more than this thing. It was weird because I felt this was actually significantly warmer than that thing, and you'd think they would be the opposite because this is polymer and that's magnesium alloy. But I didn't have a problem with it. Now, of course, I have never shot dozens and dozens of mags through it, so I can't really.
It heats up a little bit,
Yeah.
not too much. Down at Valor Ridge, I had to put a glove on. I mean, it was an annoying heat, not like the hot, like burn your hands. It was just
It's not like
annoying.
an AK. Like an AK
Exactly.
will fucking heat up. Like
Yeah.
and that's the thing. People who complain about these.
Actually, that was more the reason why I had to put the glove on, is because my dad and I switched down at Valor Ridge. I started using the SLR, and he started using my BCM.
And there you go. And the AKs will heat the shit out of your hand.
So
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. Now another thing I'll say, and then we'll just sort of exit the video because
I mean, we can go on forever on
yeah,
this.
we really could because this is fucking fun. But every single time that you develop a rifle system, guys, or any kind of system, it's always an evolutionary project. This.
I mean, look at the difference.
It's always an evolution. Everything that on Aaron's rifle is great. I like it, but there's some things I prefer on mine, and there are some things I want to change. Just because you have a system built up for yourself doesn't mean you have to stay that way.
Mm-hmm.
Building a rifle is an evolutionary process, and you can start out with one configuration and go through different phases. There's nothing keeping you to a certain configuration. So I encourage everybody to try new things. I encourage people to experiment and to make sure to always remember that even though something is cool on paper or it sounds good on paper, it may not translate very well into real world application.
Train with it, because then you find out, oh, this works for me or this doesn't.
Yeah, and that's the key. You got to figure out what works for you, and you got to figure out what you like and dislike, and maybe things you want to change.
And you might have to adjust. So,
yeah, and there's no shame in that making mistakes. I mean, I just admitted today that this LMT rear sight, I'm not digging it anymore. I'll have to sell it, or maybe I'll sell it, and I'll change. But for the most part, I'm satisfied with the build. And that's really it, just again, it's an evolutionary process. There's no shame in learning. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for us today. We had a good time, shoot a lot of shit. There's going to be more videos on the 223 AK as time goes on.
Yeah,
partially because I want to have a discussion about it, and partially because I like getting the hate mail that I receive sometimes about them, because haters going to hate Sega 223 for life.
As far as some of the upcoming videos that I'll be doing, you guys have already seen that I'll be doing a video on, my CMMG Mark III, the primary arms 1-6 with that ACSS reticle, the Surefire Pro Comp on that. I'll do a review on my SIG 556. I'll do a review on this bad baby for you. I'm gonna do a comparison between the T1 and the MRO. That's the big one.
Yeah, that'd be a really cool thing.
That's the big one. Because I know everybody, with that MRO coming out, everybody's interested, which is why I took the plunge, which is why you took the plunge.
Yeah, and I took the plunge with the MRO. We're not going to make this into an MRO video, but
no.
I wanted to go into it just because it's something different.
Yep.
And I got to give it a chance, at least in some ways. And if it fucks up and I'm the beta tester, Trijicon is still a good name. They'll probably take care of their customers.
Yep. So, yeah, that's some of the upcoming videos I'll have. My 320, I'll do one on that. So, we've got about 5 or 6 videos that I've got planned.
Yeah, and eventually I'll do a full review on my entire setup. But for now, we're just going to look at the uppers and and ogle about them.
So, all right, guys. Thanks for watching. Dave and Aaron at TSI.
Yep, thanks for subscribing, and we hope to see you soon. All right, guys.
Thanks.
Peace.